Known as the Singing River to its original Native American inhabitants, Muscle Shoals is nestled in the northwest corner of Alabama along the shores of the Tennessee River. The rich musical legacy of this quaint southern region maintains a global influence, yet the amazing story of the Muscle Shoals sound remains largely untold.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Some of the biggest names in music came from this area, but its distinctive sound was created by the visionary souls who stayed in the shoals. The enduring quality of this legacy stands like a mighty oak along the banks of the Singing River. The Muscle Shoals sound is timeless, with its roots planted firmly and growing still at the crossroads of country, rock, and soul. In 1959, bandmates Rick Hall and Billy Sherrill partnered with Tom Stafford to create Florence, Alabama Music Enterprises. But the fame era really began in 1961 when Hall ventured out on his own and recorded the Arthur Alexander hit, You Better Move On.
That's up to her, yes, and the Lord above. You better move on.
Hall used the proceeds from that initial success to build his new headquarters on Avalon Avenue in Muscle Shoals. A sign above the main studio entrance testifies to the incredibly talented artists who have performed in fame's hallowed halls.
I'll do what you choose. I want you to tell Mama all about it.
Mustang Sally. Guess you better slow your Mustang down.
Years he said, Patches, I'm depending on your son to pull the family through. My son, it's all left up to you.
So Dan came in the studio one day and said, I'm telling you, they're cutting a hit record on that Percy Sledge kid. Wexler had told me, he said, look, Rick, if you hear anything that you think is a hit, call me. When Quinn played it for me, it was one Sunday, and we went in the studio and I played it and listened to it. And he said, what do you think? I said, well, Quinn, I think it's the #1 record.
This release not only topped the R&B charts, it crossed over and hit #1 on the pop charts as well, setting a genre-defying precedent that Muscle Shoals music would follow again and again. 1967 was a major milestone for Fame. Jerry Wexler brought Aretha Franklin to Muscle Shoals to record her first hit, the double-sided Grammy-winning smash, I Never Loved a Man and Do Right Woman.
Loved a man the way that I love you.
It was also in 1967 that Otis Redding brought Arthur Conley to Fame to record Sweet Soul Music. Otis cut one of his last records at Fame just days before his death.
You left on the water running, or when you left me behind. Baby,
Fame hosted many magical moments over the years, including the unparalleled artistry of a young guitar virtuoso who would go on to lead the legendary Allman Brothers Band and create what we know today as Southern rock.
My friend Rick Hall was in New York at the same time, and we were in the same hotel, and he put on Hey Jude. That's unbelievable. I said, who's that guitar player? I said, I'm going to Alabama. I'm going to put a group together. He used to always tell me, he said, don't bet on me for the long run. He says, because I'm going to eat up as much life as I can.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
In the late 60s, many of those who helped create the distinctive Muscle Shoals sound set up their own facilities. Several new studios opened their doors in the Shoals area, including Quinby, Muscle Shoals Sound, Wishbone, Music Mill, Widget, and Broadway Sound. And the hits just kept coming.
I'll take you there. Ain't nobody crying.
For the next 3 decades, artists from pop, country, rock, and soul would convene in these Northwest Alabama studios in search of the Muscle Shoals sound, like the Rolling Stones. Rod Stewart.
Baby, I know the first cut is the deepest. When it comes to being lucky,
Paul Simon, the Commodores, Cher, Bob Dylan, and many, many others.
oh, still crazy after all these years.
One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl.
In 1971, the Osmonds recorded their breakout hit at Fame Studios and sold more than 14 million records worldwide. That same year, Rick Hall was named Producer of the Year by Billboard and Cashbox magazines. The Shoals' southern roots made it effortless for them to identify country hits as well. But in typical Muscle Shoals fashion, the spin on country stood out from the pack with a distinctive, soulful flavor.
Baby, baby, don't get hooked on me.
Down in shame. I might have been born just plain white trash, but fancy was my name. Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me
Won't
down.
you hold still, son? Stop squirming around. Another southern Sunday's coming down. I swear.
And the Shoals area continues to flex its considerable songwriting and publishing muscle with huge crossover hits from country to pop, rock, and soul. Today, the influence of Muscle Shoals can still be heard in contemporary popular music as a new generation of musicians are inspired by its enduring sounds.
It's only 12:30, but I don't care. You don't care. I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Is it washed in the blood or just in the water? And I want to know that he makes enough to take my daughter down the road.
His life's a hole and out for tires. Maybe next time he'll think before he chooses.
Be there till the end. I'll be your lover and your friend. I'm still learning how to be. Tearing down that highway like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde.
Today, the influence of Muscle Shoals can still be heard in contemporary popular music as a new generation of musicians are inspired by its enduring sounds. In 2011, the Muscle Shoals Music Association, along with strategic partners, will celebrate 50 years of hits with amazing all-star concerts featuring contemporary superstars. The creators of this genre-bending music will collaborate with blues singers, pop bands, gospel legends, hip-hop trendsetters, country crooners, rock icons, and soul divas to bring the magic of the Muscle Shoals sound to a new generation of music lovers. State-of-the-art recordings, in-depth video documentary, and comprehensive marketing materials will offer a fresh perspective on these timeless classics, creating an enthusiastic market for the past, present, and future of the Muscle Shoals sound. The unforgettable music made at the shores of the Singing River has been transcending categories, tearing down social barriers, and transforming popular culture for nearly 50 years. This is indeed an American musical story that must be told, and the story continues. The Muscle Shoals sound is alive and well at the crossroads of country, rock, and soul.